This is Amelia. She works for an international fashion brand with a comprehensive sustainability strategy. With this strategy, the company creates sustainable products and promotes social cohesion. They are committed to protecting the environment and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The OEKO-TEX modular system supports Amelia in acting responsibly and making sustainable decisions for her company. Her company offers its customers safe and eco-friendly textile and leather products, certified with Standard 100, Leather Standard, or labelled with Made in Green by OEKO-TEX. How is this ensured? The STEP by OEKO-TEX certification enables Amelia and her team to ensure and optimise ecological and socially responsible production conditions. To manufacture textile and leather products, chemicals are used across the value chain. The Eco Passport certification from OEKO-TEX supports Amelia's company to identify safer chemicals. Amelia knows she has a duty of care for her own company and throughout the whole supply chain. The modular system of OEKO-TEX enables Amelia's company to successfully implement their sustainability strategy and protect our planet for future generations. Do you want to be part of the journey? Contact us for more information.
The birds, the splashing creek, green leaves glistening in the sunlight. I dream of a world where all children can play in the beauty of nature. I dream of a world where all people take care of each other and their environment. But how do I know if the things I need, the things I love, are good for me and my surroundings, like my clothes I wear every day? Is there someone who takes care that the people who make them are working in fair conditions? Is there someone who makes sure that their materials are not harming all those beautiful little miracles around me? Is there a label that can guarantee my clothes are of good quality? Is there someone who tests if the leather protecting my feet is safe? I'm glad there is. There is someone I can trust, here and around the world. Someone who guarantees that my favourite shirt meets all the standards at every single step on its journey to me. Thank you, TESTEX.
Our laboratory is actually focusing on delivering services to the textile industry all over the world. We do this since more than 170 years already. And running here in Zurich, we have employed 80 people. In the whole group, we are approximately 230, and we are focusing actually on the European market, but as well on the Asian market to provide services in the area of textile testing and also textile certification. We are working primarily on the field of sustainability. In the laboratories here, we are mainly actually doing testing of textile for harmful substances. In the context with our analysis, we are analyzing in total approximately 40,000 samples a year. This equals to more than 100 a day. Now they're analyzed for the various parameters for pH value, formaldehyde, pesticides, tin organics, APOs, to mention it. Scientifically, actually, we have big pressure also from other initiatives. NGOs are forcing textile industry to get rid of harmful substances in their production, but also on the products. We also see it as a core of our work to motivate other companies to work on a sustainable way and to show it, what they are doing.
The biggest challenges in our laboratory are, of course, faster analysis, better analysis, more accurate, and of course, keeping the costs into mind. It is not only for optimizing the analytical chemistry, the instrumental part, but also optimizing the whole resources in the laboratory, from sample preparation to the lab technician workflows to the reporting workflows, so by using, for example, softwares. We use Agilent technologies in the field of instrumental analysis almost exclusively. The main focus is
Selamat siang dan Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. TESTEX Indonesia mengucapkan selamat datang kepada seluruh peserta pada acara webinar ZDHC and OEKO-TEX 2025 Key Regulatory Updates and Compliance Strategies yang diselenggarakan pada hari ini, Rabu 26 Februari 2025, secara online dengan menggunakan aplikasi Microsoft Teams. Perkenalkan, saya Ruli dari TESTEX Indonesia yang akan memandu webinar ini hingga selesai. Dan terima kasih telah meluangkan waktu untuk bergabung bersama kami pada siang hari ini. Sebelum memulai acara, izinkan saya untuk menyampaikan beberapa peraturan yang perlu diperhatikan selama pelaksanaan webinar. Yang pertama, mohon pastikan mikrofon Anda dalam keadaan mute selama sesi berlangsung. Jika memiliki pertanyaan, silakan Bapak Ibu tuliskan hanya pada Q&A box yang tersedia dan bukan melalui chat box. Pertanyaan terbaik nantinya akan mendapatkan door prize yang telah disediakan oleh TESTEX Indonesia. Dan bagi peserta yang pada panel webinarnya tidak muncul kolom Q&A box, silakan menginformasikan pada kolom chat box. Di akhir acara akan ada games interaktif melalui platform Kahoot, di mana peserta akan menjawab 5 macam pertanyaan. 3 peserta dengan skor tertinggi akan mendapatkan hadiah menarik dari TESTEX Indonesia. Kami mengundang Bapak Ibu untuk menyimak seluruh materi dengan seksama dan mengikuti webinar ini hingga selesai. Pada kesempatan siang ini, kami sangat senang dapat menghadirkan 2 expert di bidangnya, yaitu Mr. Saket Kulkarni, selaku ZDHC Implementation Manager South Asia, dan Miss Mary Rose Iglov selaku TESTEX Group Product Manager Standard 100. Para expert yang kami hadirkan hari ini akan berbagi wawasan berharga mengenai perubahan regulasi serta bagaimana industri dapat memastikan kepatuhan terhadap standar terbaru. Materi dalam webinar ini akan terdiri dari 3 sesi. Sesi pertama akan disampaikan oleh Mr. Saket Kulkarni. Kemudian sesi kedua dan ketiga akan dibawakan oleh Miss Mary Rose Iglov. Sebelum kita memulai sesi utama, terlebih dahulu akan ada sambutan pembuka yang akan disampaikan oleh Miss Pipit Hayati selaku General Manager TESTEX Indonesia. Kepada Ibu Pipit, waktu dan tempat kami persilahkan.
Terima kasih banyak Pak Ruli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang Bapak Ibu peserta webinar hari ini. Saya Pipit Hayati selaku General Manager TESTEX Indonesia mengucapkan selamat datang dan selamat bergabung di webinar TESTEX dan ZDHC pada hari ini. Saya senang sekali dengan antusias Bapak dan Ibu dalam mengikuti webinar hari ini, di mana kami ingin sekali memberikan penjelasan yang lebih mendetail terkait update dari regulasi ZDHC dan juga TESTEX dan juga OEKO-TEX. ZDHC pada hari ini akan memaparkan mengenai beberapa update guideline yang mencakup recycle polyester, air emission, dan juga commodity chemicals. Sedangkan dari sisi TESTEX dan OEKO-TEX akan dipaparkan penjelasan mengenai regulasi terbaru untuk OEKO-TEX 2025 yang mencakup juga OEKO-TEX limit value, serta juga standar global yang terkait PFAS. Semoga webinar kali ini bisa memenuhi kebutuhan Bapak dan Ibu akan informasi tersebut, dan tentu saja kami pun mengharapkan partisipasi Bapak dan Ibu dalam diskusi yang akan dilakukan setelah setiap topik dipaparkan. Sekali lagi, terima kasih banyak atas partisipasi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, dan selamat menyimak seluruh paparan topik pada webinar hari ini. Semoga bermanfaat. Selamat siang dan wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih banyak Ibu Pipit atas sambutannya. Selanjutnya, peserta webinar kita akan langsung memasuki sesi pemaparan materi pertama oleh Mr. Saket. Namun sebelumnya, izinkan saya untuk membacakan profil singkat beliau. Mr. Saket Kulkarni is the Implementation Manager ZDHC South Asia. He has completed his Master's in Technology and Textile Processing from the Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. And he has more than 10 years of diverse experience in the textile manufacturing, research organization, and in a certification company dealing with analytical testing, eco-certifications, and chemical management systems implementation, and has worked on various environmental and life cycle assessments projects during his previous assignment. In his current role as an implementation manager in ZDHC, Mr. Saket is responsible for the implementation and monitoring of the ZDHC Roadmap to Zero program in the South Asia region. He is now based in Mumbai, India. Pada materi ini, Mr. Saket akan mempresentasikan terkait ZDHC updates on recycled polyester guidelines, air emission guidelines, and commodity chemicals guide. Dan sebelum presentasi dimulai, izinkan saya menginformasikan juga bagaimana presentasi akan berlangsung. Pertama, Mr. Saket akan memaparkan materi terlebih dahulu, setelah itu akan ada sesi tanya-jawab terpisah. Before the presentation begins, let me explain how the session will be conducted. Mr. Saket will deliver his presentation first, and then a Q&A session will follow afterward. Now we invite Mr. Saket to start the presentation. I hand over the microphone to you, Mr. Saket, and you may share your screen now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruli. My screen is visible?
Yes, Saket, please.
Okay. So first of all, thank you, TESTEX, for organizing this ZDHC Solutions Roadshow. And so in this session, I would like to give you a brief overview about ZDHC Roadmap to Zero program. And as Ruli has mentioned, we will discuss about the air emission guideline, the commodity chemicals guide, and a very short introduction about recycled polyester guideline, which we published in December 2024. So, I would like to start with our vision and mission. I hope you all are very well aware about ZDHC, which stands for Zero Discharge of Hazardous Chemicals, and which has a laser focus area on sustainable chemical management. And our philosophy is very simple. If you are purchasing safer chemicals which are free from harmful substances, then your output in terms of the product, in terms of the effluent, in terms of the sludge, or in terms of the air emission, which will be free from harmful substances. And this is the better chemistry which is at heart of our entire program, which also reflected into our vision, which is in a world which better chemistry leads to the protection of life, land, air, and water. So everything, all the impact areas related to the safer chemistry or better chemistry we are talking about. And our mission is to lead our global value chains to achieve the highest standards for sustainable chemical management, driving resource efficiency and circularity. And how we are doing everything, we trust into the collaborations, whether the collaborations with our signatory brands or the associations or the solution providers like TESTEX as well. So all these different companies, they are helping us for developing our program, and at the same time implementing this program into the entire value chain. So the entire ZDHC program, it is a sustainable chemical management program if developed into three focus areas, that is input, process, and output. And in all these three focus areas, we have the guidelines, and these guidelines are linked with the platforms and the adoption tools or solutions. The input, the entire focus of the input, as I mentioned, the philosophy of ZDHC is to purchase clean inputs in your facility. Wherever the chemicals are being used in all the wet processing facilities, they should purchase the products which are free from harmful substances. The products should meet the ZDHC MRSL conformance level. So this is the idea, and ZDHC MRSL is the backbone of our entire program. So in the input, we have the document called as MRSL and MRSL conformance guidance, which is linked with the platform called as a gateway, and the adoption tool. That means how these stakeholders demonstrate that they have implemented the input chemical management. And from that perspective, for a chemical manufacturer, they need to certify the product and publish into the gateway platform, and they can download the ChemCheck report. The next stakeholder is our suppliers, who are implementing the entire program. For them, the adoption tool is the performance in-check report and the verified in-check level 1. Then comes to the process part. Process is all about how you are implementing the chemical management systems and how you can demonstrate using a certification. So you can perform the supplier to zero certification, and then you can demonstrate that you have implemented a proper chemical management systems in your facility. And in the output category, we have the ZDHC wastewater guidelines, which demonstrate the quality of your wastewater beyond the conventional parameters. And the adoption tool is the Clearstream report. I request all of you to please mute your mic. So, so what is the journey of the different stakeholders? Like, for example, formulators, what they need to do. So the first and foremost thing is they need to register into gateway account. They need to certify their products with ZDHC, MRSL confirmed different certifications, and OEKO-TEX Passport is one of the approved certifier at level 1, level 2, and level 3. And then the formulators, they can upload the products using the safety data sheet, MRSL confirmed certification, and then publish those products and generate a ChemCheck report, which is a product passport. That product is published into the ZDHC gateway platform, and they can provide this ChemCheck or ChemCheck summary report to their customers. The next one is about the suppliers. What suppliers needs to do for implementing this ZDHC program? Again, the first and foremost step is to create a gateway account, then prepare your chemical inventory list and check for all the chemicals whether those products are MRSL conformant or non-conformant. The third stage is to generate a performance in-check reports. The in-check reports are nothing but to get you a baseline. Okay, what percentage of your chemicals are MRSL conformant and what percentage are non-conformant? And whatever products are non-conformant, then from those products you can take the actions. Either you can find the safer alternatives on gateway platform, or you can ask your chemical manufacturers to certify those products and publish into the gateway platform for increasing your in-check scoring. The third one is about the verified in-check level 1, because in the in-check report, you are generating the in-check report using your own self generating the in-check report. And therefore, we found that there is a lacking of trust and credibility on that particular inventory. So that is why we have come up with the verification. The next step is about the Clearstream report. It is generated after performing your wastewater testing. So twice in a year, you can perform your wastewater testing and generate the Clearstream report. So wastewater testing is not a pass or fail criteria, but just to understand what is your input chemical management and about your process chemical management. And lastly, you can perform the supplier to zero assessment for level 1 and level 2. So this is the entire journey for a supplier for implementing the ZDHC roadmap to zero program. And I would like to also share with you about our 2030 goal for the ZDHC MRSL conformance. And for that, we require the support from all of you. So the goal is the 100% of the chemical formulations used in your facility should be ZDHC MRSL conformant and published into the ZDHC gateway platform. The goal is very aspirational, And the second goal is the suppliers who are not registered into with ZDHC, but for that also, okay, whatever chemical formulations they are using, at least 70% of those formulations should be MRSL confirmed and published into the gateway platform. So to meet this goal, we require the collaboration, the support from all the suppliers, solution providers, and brands as well. Let's work together for greater impact. Now, I would like to share with you the updates about the air emission guidelines. And if you have any questions in between, you can put it into the Q&A box. And after my session, we will take those questions. So the air emission guidelines. So these guidelines, which facilities are within scope, which facilities are not within scope. You can see here the dyeing, printing, finishing, and textile facilities, the garment or denim washing, printing facilities, leather tanneries, and footwear assembly units. All these facilities are within the scope. But the ETP emissions to air or sludge emissions to air or MMCF production, these facilities are not within the scope of ZDHC air emission guidelines. What is the objective of these guidelines? Why we come up with this air emission guidelines? So this document was published in August 2024, and the main objective of this document is to calculate the VOCs, volatile organic compounds, and GHGs. So basically, to calculate the emissions from your chemical inventory, the potential to emit PTE of VOC will be calculated, and to evaluate the supplier performance levels into foundational, progressive, and aspirational level based on the calculation of PTE values for the VOCs. How the calculation will take place, I will explain you in my next slide. And about the GHG, we would like to gather the data on scope 1 and scope 2 GHG emissions, either through if you are reporting on any different platforms like HIG-FEM, SBTI, CDP, or even the STEP certification by OEKO-TEX. You can directly put those values into the platform. Otherwise, if you are not doing, as of now, if you are not calculating your GHG emissions, then what you can do, you can calculate using the ZDHC platform about your scope 1 and scope 2 emissions, and then to set the targets for reducing GHG emissions over the 2025 baseline year. Now, how the VOCs, PTE of VOCs will be calculated. The first and foremost step is you need to prepare your chemical inventory, entire chemical inventory. You must have your GHS compliant safety data sheet, and in the section 3, you can find the CAS numbers of each of the chemical formulation and what is the percentage of that particular formulation, and then you need to mention your annual consumption for that particular chemical. And with this formula, the 100% of potential to emit for the VOCs will be calculated. This is our tool, and even in the platform we have everything, and only the VOCs will be taken. So for example, in your any chemical formulation, if VOCs are present, then only you need to mention it. Otherwise, it is not required. Now, for example, you can see here methyl acetate. This is one of the VOC. 40 to 60% is the percentage in that particular formulation, and 3600 is the consumption. So now you can see here PTE of methyl acetate is 60% of 3600, which is 2160 kg per annum. So this is how the VOCs of your entire chemical inventory is being calculated. And then in the same formulation, the heptane is also present. The VOC of heptane is 720 kg per annum. So total is 2.8 tons per annum for a single chemical. Now, if you are using, for example, 10 or 15 chemicals, and if all those chemicals contains the VOCs, then your PTE of VOC will be very high. And this is the performance criteria. For the foundational level, the cap is 25 tons per year. For the progressive, it is up to 15 tons per year. And for the aspirational, it is up to 5 tons per year. So this is how the supplier performance will be evaluated. And this is the report will be generated. This is at the draft stage because we haven't started our platform yet. But within the next few days, we will start and you can report your PT of VOCs and the GHG emissions. And after completing, you will receive the similar report like this. So you can find here what is your VOC's potential to emit, at what level you will be foundational, progressive, aspirational, or you are not achieving any of this level if you have the higher PT VOC. And then what is your GHG emission? But at the same time, the very important part, what we are giving here, okay, which are the three chemicals which are contributing the highest PT to VOC, and then in the GHG case as well, which are the three entries which are contributing the highest GHG emissions, so that you can focus on that particular chemical or those GHG emission area, and then you can reduce your emissions. So this was all about the air emission guideline and what are our minimum expectations. If you are not accounting your GHG, then you can use this platform, you can use the module and calculate your GHG emissions. If you are already doing it, just report it, put your values. And similarly for the VOCs also, prepare your chemical inventory and calculate your PT VOC as well. So this was all about the updates about ZDHC air emission guideline. Now let's focus on commodity chemicals guide. So basically commodity chemicals. So in all your facilities, you are using the commodity chemicals or the basic chemicals during the manufacturing. So basically we publish this document to support the suppliers to make responsible purchasing decisions for the commodity chemicals through evaluation of commodity chemical sellers that covers the ZDHC MRSL risks and not just on price and quality. As we all know, the purchasing of the commodity chemicals is mainly based on the pricing factor. Secondly, we would like to give you an guidance for storage and handling precautions for specific commodity chemicals, outline actions in case of any non-conformities in your Clearstream report, then outline the actions for the root cause analysis and corrective action plan. And the most important is to provide you a definition of commodity chemicals and a list of commodity chemicals. Which are the commodity chemicals list? So we have given all these guidance. Where it is applicable in textile dye house, printing, finishing, garment facilities, leather tanneries, and footwear assembling units. Now, what is commodity chemical? As I mentioned, we have given the definition. So basically, it is a single substance or compounds whose chemical structure is very well known, having a single CAS number. It is used to create conditions or act as an aid in process. And the most important is commodity chemicals do not remain on product but washed out into the wastewater. Now there are two types of commodity chemicals. One is the virgin, another one is the non-virgin. Now what is the difference between it? So basically virgin commodity chemicals are manufactured or synthesized from raw materials through chemical reactions. And for such chemicals, there is a low risk of MRSL substances. And for the non-virgin commodity chemicals, it is basically a byproduct from different industries, like for example, the pharma industry or tire industry or some other industries. And for such products, there will be medium to high risk for the MRSL substances. And you can find here, we have given the entire list of commodity chemicals. Like just for example, these are the list of virgin, these are the list of non-virgin, and suppliers should focus more onto the non-virgin commodity chemicals used and their facility. But at the same time, what is the responsibility of supplier? So basically, suppliers should engage commodity chemical industry. It is very difficult to engage the commodity chemical sellers through ZDHC gateway platform. Secondly, the MRSL risk from the commodities are purely from unintentional contaminants. Thirdly, these products will not remain onto the product, onto the commodity chemicals will not remain onto the final product. So therefore, we have not included it into the chemicals to zero progressive level for correlation to the RSL in the in-check report. So basically, and most important part is testing of commodity chemicals for MRSL risks is not the solution. Just like our other chemicals, the products which are within the scope of the performance in check report, like your dyes, silicon softeners, or different auxiliaries. For that, the testing for the MRSL substances is very important. But for the commodity chemicals, this is not the solution. So that is why suppliers should take the responsibility. What kind of responsibility they should take? So they should establish a long-term relationship with the CC seller, purchase quantities in not for a very small quantities, but at a big batches. Do not always purchase your decision based only on the price, because this is a very price sensitive market. But please avoid to purchase only based on the price. Ensure compatibility and special precautions for safer storage, and then check commodities for ZDHC MRSL conformities with wastewater. Now, how you can evaluate your supplier? We have given details in detailed into our guideline, into the document. I will not discuss here, but just one example. So basically, you can find out whether from whoever you are manufacturing, whether they are CC seller or they are the manufacturer. Means they are manufacturing or they are only doing the distributing to you. So this is very important. How you can do it? You can visit their website or you can just ask them. If they are the manufacturer or distributor, then you will get 2 points. If they are doing only a trading business or they are only doing reselling, they will get 1 point. And if there is no concrete information, then in such cases, they will get 0 point. And this is how we have given 5 different criteria with all the methodology and pointing system. If then you need to evaluate your CC sellers, and then you can categorize them into 3 different levels. Level A, Class A, Class B, Class C. Class A is the high level of trust. Whoever got the 10 to 14 points, and you can continue to purchase from these CC sellers. Class B, if they are achieving 5 to 9 points, where medium level of trust and medium level of ZDHC MRSL risk will be an interpretation. And you can review these CC sellers and initiate actions with them to improve their score in identify low score criteria. And wherever Class C is there with the commodity chemical sellers, if they are getting 0 to 4 points, then you can try to purchase from Class A and Class B sellers. So these are the action points. And in case of non-conformity into the root cause analysis, you can perform the root cause analysis and corrective action plan. So here you can see the major MRSL non-conformities from the virgin commodity chemicals are AP, APOs, phthalates, and heavy metals. But for example, but on the other side, from non-virgin commodity chemicals, there are different types of MRSL substances can be found positive. So at the end, what you can do as a supplier, the first and foremost thing is you must study this document and understand what is it. Get the declarations from your commodity chemical sellers, evaluate these sellers and classify them into Class A, Class B, and Class C. Prepare the action plan. And in case of MRSL non-conformities, you should focus onto these commodity chemical products as well. And lastly, I would like to just give you an idea. I'm not going into the details of the recycled polyester guidelines, but I would like to give you a very basic idea that basically this document is for the recycled polyester manufacturers and not the users. So if any of you are the manufacturers, then it is for you. You can also download. This is available on our website. So what is this document is all about? How this is structured? We will discuss only this thing. Again, this document is structured into 3 focus areas: input management, process management, and output management. In the input management, our focus into input feedstock management. And input feedstock management, there are different types of feedstock like pre-consumer polyester, post-consumer polyester bottle waste, or ocean-bound plastics, or pre-consumer textile waste, or post-consumer textile waste. These are the different feedstocks. And then second one is about the input chemicals management. So in the chemical part, what you need to do if you are a manufacturer of recycled poly, then prepare a chemical inventory list. familiarize with the ZDHC MRSL version 3.1, certify your products and publish into the gateway platform. This is from an input management perspective. From process management, if you are doing a chemical recycling, then in that case, and if you are using solvents, then solvent recovery is very important and mandatory. So that is why solvent recovery in chemical recycling, safe chemical storage, chemical handling and worker safety, and training in chemical management. The details of all the chapters we have given in the document. And output management is again focused on wastewater discharge and air emissions data reporting. So this is from the recycled polyester perspective. So a very quick update about the air emission, commodity chemicals, and air and the recycled polyester guideline. So if you have any questions related to this, please put it into Q&A box, and then we will discuss all these questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Saket, for your informative and comprehensive presentation. I would like to know previously that, and your explanation also, how does ZDHC will be support factories in transitioning to safer chemicals while maintaining also the production efficiency? What do you think about that?
Sorry, can you please repeat your question?
Yeah. How does ZDHC support factories in transitioning to safer chemicals while maintaining the production efficiency?
Okay, so basically, as I mentioned, so whatever chemicals you are using, the first and foremost important thing is you need to prepare your chemical inventory and check whether the chemicals are MRSL conformant or non-conformant. You can do this by using the gateway platform, and if the chemicals are non-conformant, if your input chemical is non-conformant, then ultimately it will impact onto your product, into your effluent, sludge, and air emissions as well. Now about your production efficiency, as you mentioned, so definitely whenever you are changing any chemicals, not only the MRSL conformance status, but also the quality of your product as well as the process is also important. So at that time, the first most criteria should be the products, whatever alternative products you are choosing, that should be MRSL conformant. But secondly, the facilities must take different trials to prove that product is at par using the existing product. So these are the different stage which facilities must take.
Okay then. So, okay. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, semoga paparan tadi telah memberikan pemahaman yang lebih jelas mengenai ZDHC updates on recycled polyester guidelines, air emission guidelines, and also commodity chemicals guide. Apabila Bapak dan Ibu memiliki pertanyaan, silahkan ditulis di kolom Q&A box yang tersedia. So let's see if you have any questions in the Q&A box. Tim kami akan memeriksa apakah
Yes,
sudah ada pertanyaan
there is
yang
one
masuk.
question.
Oh yeah, there. Good day, Mr. Saket. Can you brief about what is this came from Miss Candy from Surya Baru. Good day, Mr. Saket. Can you brief about what is ZDHC MRSL, and also does the OEKO-TEX 100 holder we are dying factory compulsory to register to the ZDHC platform? Does all the chemical formulations register into the platform will be kept confidential? Okay, so you may answer.
Yeah. So basically, ZDHC MRSL stands for Manufacturing Restricted Substances List. It is a list of harmful substances which should not be intentionally added into the formulation. That means the chemical manufacturers, whenever they are formulating their products or synthesizing their products, so in those products, they should not add intentionally the MRSL listed substances. And this is for the chemical manufacturers, not for you as a dyeing factory. Now, as a dyeing factory, what you need to do, the first thing is to register into the gateway platform. And second thing is to check whether your products are MRSL confirmant or not, whether these products are published into the gateway platform or not. This is the one of the stage which you need to perform. And then the second question is, does all the chemical formulations register into the platform will be keep confidential? Okay, so the formulators, the chemical manufacturers, as a supplier or textile manufacturer, you can also register into the platform, but at the same time, the chemical manufacturers, they can also register, and then after registration, they publish their products. And these products are not being confidential. As of now, there are more than 125,000 products are published into the gateway platform. So these products are not confidential at all. You can also see all those products after registration into the gateway platform. You can compare your existing products, whether those products are published into gateway or not published. And if not published, you can also find the alternative products which are safer to use, which will not harm to your final product as well as into effluent as well. And then your next question, third question, is about ZDHC platform and OEKO-TEX standard 100 certification. Okay. So the standard 100 certification is all about the product certification, final finished article testing, and then certification. Whereas the ZDHC program is more on a facility based program where you need to perform the different actions. Starting from, as I mentioned, the entire program is based on 3 focus areas: input, process, output. And in all these 3 focus areas, you need to perform certain actions. Like, for example, in the input, you need to purchase the safer products. In the process, you can establish a proper chemical management system. And in the output, you need to evaluate the quality of your wastewater, not only with the conventional parameters, but it goes beyond the conventional parameter, and with the anions, with the heavy metals, and with the MRSL parameters as well. And now we also discussed about the air emission guideline as well. So you need to perform all these actions. And still, if my answer is not, if you haven't got the answer, then maybe after this call, you can connect with me, and then we will discuss this in detail. Yeah, thank you. And if any other questions are there, you can please put it into the Q&A box.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Saket, for the informative explanation to the questions from the participants. Selamat, nanti Ibu Candi akan kita hubungi kembali dari tim kami untuk proses lebih lanjut. Thank you, Mr. Saket. You may stop your screen now. Baiklah, para peserta webinar sekalian, mari kita lanjutkan kepada pemateri selanjutnya yang akan disampaikan oleh Miss Mary Rose Igloff. Sebelumnya izinkan saya untuk membacakan profil singkat dari beliau. Miss Mary Rose Igloff is the Group Product Manager at TESTEX for the product certifications OEKO-TEX Eco Passport, OEKO-TEX Standard 100, and OEKO-TEX Organic Cotton. She has an educational background in chemical engineering and held various leadership and management positions in 18-year tenure at TESTEX. In the evolving sustainability landscape, she counts herself privileged for being part of a company that has tradition, experience, and can offer solutions that help stakeholders understand and navigate through the complex topic. She's a devoted mother and finds balance and inspiration through soul food, travel, and yoga. Pada materi selanjutnya, beliau akan mempresentasikan terkait standar dan regulasi terbaru 2025 pada OEKO-TEX dan juga korelasi antara OEKO-TEX dan juga ZDHC. Sama seperti sebelumnya, materi presentasi akan disampaikan terlebih dahulu, kemudian setelahnya akan ada sesi tanya-jawab terpisah. Same as before, we begin the presentation. Ms. Mary Rose will deliver her presentation, followed by a Q&A session. Now we invite Ms. Mary Rose Igloff to start the presentation. The floor is yours. You may share your screen now.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Ruli, for that nice introduction. Hi, everyone. I am very happy to be here with you to be part of this webinar, together also with ZDHC Saket. So before we go to the major part of my presentation, I would just like to give you a little bit of introduction about our company, mother company, TESTEX. So you see here the picture of the building. TESTEX was founded in 1846 by Swiss silk manufacturers and has operated a silk drying or conditioning facility. So a little bit of a trivia. If you're wondering if this building is still existing, because it's 1846, yes, very much so. It is still there, standing proud and tall right in the middle of Zurich. Okay. Okay. So TESTEX has changed the name to TESTEX AG in 1970, but the very first milestone was joining OEKO-TEX in 1993. Over the course of 10 years, we have expanded and opened our representative office in Asia, the first one being in Hong Kong. In 2005, we have opened our office in Jakarta, and 7 years later, our Bandung team joined us. In 2013, we have merged with RT Institute, located in Austria. So RT is one of the founding members of the OEKO-TEX Association. And in 2018, we are happy to join ZDHC's movement in driving sustainable textile and leather chemistries. We are located in 37 sites. So together with RT, you will find us in different locations across the globe. If you're interested where we are at, please visit our website and also the website of RT to see if you are near any of our local branches. So what do we do? So we test, we certify, and audit. This is pretty much the core business that we have at TESTEX. We are also the official representative of OEKO-TEX. So in Indonesia, TESTEX is the official representative. And OEKO-TEX, to just give you some figures about OEKO-TEX, OEKO-TEX comprises of 17 independent textile and leather testing institutes that are represented in 70 countries worldwide. We have businesses already certified, stakeholders certified worldwide, 21,000 strong, and the total number of certificates across all products are now at 235,000. So we're happy that we are also growing and we can really close the supply chain and fill those gaps. So you might be familiar with some of these brands. So these brands and retailers have worked together with OEKO-TEX. They do trust the certification system. And these are just some of those that are working with OEKO-TEX. Okay. So the OEKO-TEX modular system. So the OEKO-TEX product profile in all stages of textile and leather supply chain, so be it from input materials to processing facilities down to consumer products, different testing and certification systems are offered. And to support brands and retailers or even traders to comply with due diligence responsibilities, responsible business was introduced to the OEKO-TEX product portfolio in 2022. So ZDHC and TESTEX and OEKO-TEX, we are happy to share our expertise in terms of testing and certification with ZDHC, as OEKO-TEX being part of the ZDHC MRSL and the Wastewater Council. And we are also happy to share ZDHC's vision and implement changes with them being a member of the advisory board. All right, I think that was the introduction regarding TESTEX and OEKO-TEX. So now for the major part of the presentation, I will be showing you the new regulations published this year. These regulations will take effect for April 1st. And starting off with the limit values, changes have been adopted for standard 100, organic cotton, leather standard, and eco passport. So as every year, OEKO-TEX reviews and updates its standards to align with various international and national legislation. Changes in limit values, we have here the bisphenol A, UV328, also listed here the several UV stabilizers that we are restricting, and methoxychlor. So here you see for specific products, the changes are from high limit values to lower limit values. These are based on scientific findings, also from the findings from our laboratories, so OEKO-TEX laboratories, and also to adopt with any legislation. PFAS changes, these are additional substances introduced to the restricted substance list of the products. Here you see the four major substances and the corresponding limit values in the products. So for standard 100, leather standard, organic cotton, and ECO-Passport. New SDHCs. So this two have been added to the list of our RSL. This is also in line with the published list of ECHA, so SDHC list. And we also make sure that we update the list whenever ECHA or REACH updates the list. Other new substances, here you see bisphenol AF, bisphenol F. These substances have been put under observation last year. So this year we are imposing limit values of 1,000 milligram per kilogram. However, for leather, we are keeping bisphenol F under observation. So additional substances like N-ethyl 2-pyridone, 2-pyridone, resorcinol, TCPP, and TPP. Further changes, so whenever we put substances under observation, the outcome within after the transition period would be either we set a limit value to restrict the use of the substance, or we take it out from our RSL because we didn't find any toxicological effects or any adverse effects when using those substances. We just gathered information over the year. So we both do ways. We do both ways. So first is the pesticides under observation. The pesticides currently are only regulated in organic cotton and have been added under observation for standard 100, leather, standard, and ECO-Passport. So for N-methyl-aniline, this is added under observation for standard 100, organic cotton, leather, and ECO-Passport. And 2-butanone oxime, this is added for standard 100, organic cotton, leather, standard, and ECO-Passport. So under observation means that we will be testing samples for these substances, for these parameters, but we don't impose any restrictions. So if we do have any findings, we will gather the information and then review the results after a year and decide whether we would add them to the restricted substance list with the corresponding limit values. Also, the further changes, methyl isothiazolinone, this was removed from under observation for standard 100. Diisocyanates also removed from under observation for ECO-Passport, and for VOCs, the transition period for VOCs in standard 100 and organic cotton Annex 4 is over by 1st of January. So we are now testing also VOCs in articles that are certified or will be certified according to Annex 4. So you will find all these changes in the current version of the product standards. You will find them available at the TESTEX or OEKO-TEX website. Please watch out for the new edition coming in April, 1st of April. We do have some revisions, corrections, or any additions. So please watch out and make sure that you have the current version of the product standards. So specifically for standard 100, I will be giving you the updates. Releasable synthetic glitter. This is tackling the microplastic pollution. So in line with our commitment to reduce the environmental release of microplastics, releasable synthetic glitter has been placed under observation. This indicates that synthetic glitter is being evaluated for potential future regulation. And the key considerations include toxicological profile, meaning potential health and environmental risks are significant enough to warrant further investigation, testing development required to establish reliable testing methods in laboratories, and evaluation of the textile industry impact on how synthetic glitter interacts across the entire textile value chain. So again, this is put under observation. We will show results in the test report, but only for reporting purposes. No restrictions whatsoever. We will then review after a year how we would like to move forward with this topic. Pre-consumer PET recycling. So pre-consumer PET bottles are not considered a source of recycled material and therefore will be banned from OEKO-TEX standard certification. Pre-consumer PET bottles should remain within the closed-loop PET bottle recycling system. Reallocating them to produce garments will increase the demand for virgin PET to create new PET bottles. So starting April 1st, we will no longer accept any PET bottle recycled materials from pre-consumer stage. Moving to the standard updates for Standard 100 and organic cotton, we have a new rule for the wording organic and GMO. So these wordings would be removed from the certificate scope of the article starting April 1st. It will no longer be possible to mention organic or GMO not detectable in Standard 100 certifications. There are some exceptions from this. So the cotton is certified. So if the cotton is certified according to OEKO-TEX organic cotton, the word organic can be mentioned. However, this is only possible for articles that contain less than 70% organic cotton. A quantitative test is required, and in these cases, the terms must be mentioned in the scope of the Standard 100 certificate. In addition, transaction certificates are required until the first Standard 100 certificate is issued. And I'm going to show you how it looks like in the following example. So step 1, an organic cotton certificate is issued for organic cotton fiber. So that would be 100% organic cotton fiber. We are starting the certification at the ginning stage. And this requires transaction certificates for the whole chain of custody. So down the supply chain, if organic cotton will be used, for example, in consumer products, T-shirt, we can only use or mention organic in the scope if the fiber has been certified according to organic cotton and a transaction certificate has been presented. Organic cotton, so there would be consequences for OEKO-TEX made in green because of this removal of the term from the Standard 100 certificate scope. But until the 31st of March 2026, valid Standard 100 organic cotton certificates can still be used for made in green. Starting April 1st, 2026, the term organic for products made from organic cotton may only be used in the product name and or description of made in green labeled items if they are covered by an OEKO-TEX organic cotton certificate. Also coming up is the OEKO-TEX label check. So to increase transparency, you can make use of the online validity check provided by OEKO-TEX. This is free of charge. There you can see the validity status of the certificate, the associated product class, a description of the product, and new this here would be showing of the name of the certificate owner and the address of the certificate owner. So this, however, is voluntary for the first year, but will become mandatory starting April 1st next year. Okay, so for the standard updates made in green main criteria, number 4, so supply chain traceability. The wording has been rewritten for better understanding, but there is no new criteria. The main objective of the OEKO-TEX made in green label is to provide product traceability through each production step. For finished products, the making up facility plus at least 3 components shall be defined and confirmed. For semi-finished products, at least 1 component from a supplier shall be defined and confirmed, and no branches or alternatives. Just going to show you through a couple of examples how it looks like. So if you're a label owner, the vertical facility with type of operation, making up, you would need to have the making up facility, at least 3 components shall be defined and confirmed. And this is regardless of the where of the tier of the facility. It just have to be 3 components and they need to be defined and confirmed. So if you're a vertical facility without type of operation making up, it would look like this. Again, the making up facility plus at least 3 components need to be defined and confirmed. And last but not least, if you're a brand group, retailer, trader, converter, importer, the same applies. Need to confirm the making up facility and at least 3 components. Moving on now to the standard updates for letter standards. There's just one this year. So letter origin requirements. A proof of origin will be mandatory for all hides, skins, and finished leather made from cows or calf. To prove the origin of those articles, it is sufficient to provide invoices from slaughterhouses or import bills containing origin information, for example. The requirement concerning origin will remain optional for any leather products, for example, bags or gloves, and for articles made from any other animal. For STEP, there are a couple of updates. So in 2024, STEP certification has been officially recognized by ZDHC, and this now offers certificate holders a seamless solution to gain recognition within the ZDHC Supplier to Zero program, and it aims to streamline compliance, reduce duplication, and lower the costs for the STEP certificate holders. This is offered for those facilities or STEP certified facilities who wish to participate. They can upload directly the ZDHC, their certificate to the ZDHC supplier platform, and they can benefit from the participation with a reduced cost. Assessment updates, there would be 86 questions in total that have been changed. 5 additional exclusion criteria have been added, and 3 new questions added, covering condition of machines, subcontractors, and label. Also within STEP, the Annex 3 has been updated. So you see here all of the substances that have been added. Here we note that no testing would be required for wastewater. Also an update in Annex 6.1 of STEP regarding viscosity model. So for page value in the advanced stage, the value of 6 until 9 would be accepted. And here you see the values that would be applied for the chemical oxygen demand. Okay. For EcoPassport, we have added new product categories, the commodity chemicals. Commodity chemicals are separated into virgin and second life commodity chemicals. For virgin commodity chemicals, the same rules as for all other chemicals apply, except only that we perform very few tests. So we don't choose all of the parameters that we have in our restricted substance list and do them or perform them on the virgin commodity chemicals, but we make sure to only focus those tests where necessary. For second life commodity chemicals, though, we will perform full testing every year instead of every 3 years, which we have in our program, and at least one retest required after half a year. This is to make sure that the quality of the second life commodity chemicals is the same and it doesn't have any impurities or unwanted byproducts, but otherwise the same tests as for virgin chemicals. So for commodity chemicals, there is a new annex detailing all relevant chemicals to the EcoPassport, so added to the EcoPassport standard. They are separated into the following categories. So here you see, in general, pH rectifiers, oxidation rectifiers, chelating agents, and so on. You will find this annex in the product standard for EcoPassport, so please check. And if you're interested, please let us know. Also new this year is the topic of biodegradability. Now, EcoPassport customers have now the possibility to showcase the biodegradability of their chemical products on the certificate. Relevant products are chemicals used as surfactants, water softeners, and complexing agents. For these products, a proof of biodegradability is a must. Testing can be conducted by any of the OEKO-TEX institutes or by verified third-party organizations. You will also see the methods that we are accepting listed in the standard. So if you are interested or which tests can prove, or we are accepting to prove that the products are biodegradable, please check the document. This is effective for April 1st of 2025 with a grace period of 1 year. So that means any existing certificate holder will be granted a 1 year transition period to comply. And for the other or the rest of the chemical categories, they may also submit biodegradability. So if you want to, if they want to show biodegradability on the certificate, this is also the same rule applies, but it's not mandatory. We have also taken this topic of environmental edge phrases. At the moment, EcoPassport does not allow intentional use of substances with CMR toxicity. So H340, H341, H350, H351, H360, and H361. This year, we have added the following edge phrases that actually tackles the environmental risks. And but they will be under observation. So these are the codes that we would be checking in each application, and for which we would gather data and decide later after the transition period, decide whether we would add this as a requirement in the coming years for EcoPassport. For responsible business, risks had been added based on the EU Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. So added to social, right to life, right to liberty and security, a prohibition of arbitrary or unlawful interference with a person's privacy, and so on. And also added to environmental is the biological diversity, endangered species, wetlands, and natural heritage. This is a voluntary implementation, not yet relevant for certification. Details of each risk can be found in the standard document. And I think last but not least, the update to the standard reflects relevant legislation. We are aligning our terminology with the EU Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive by adopting chain of activities in place of supply chain. So this is just the terminology that we are changing to be in line with the EU CS-DDD. All right, I think, yes, that was the last slide from my side. So I'd be happy to, take any questions if there are any from the crowd.
Okay, then. Thank you. First, thank you very much, Ms. Mary Rose, for giving us such informative and interesting presentation. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, semoga penjelasan dari Ms. Mary Rose mengenai regulasi terbaru dari OEKO-TEX tahun 2025 ini sudah cukup jelas dan cukup memberikan informasi yang diperlukan saat ini. Apabila peserta webinar sekalian ada yang hendak ditanyakan mengenai regulasi, bisa dituliskan pada kolom Q&A box yang sudah tersedia. So let's see if we have any questions. Previously, okay. There are questions, but this is more related into your next presentations about the PFAS updates, regulatory. So we can put aside on this one. And also for the second also, yes, this is regarding the PFAS. One thing I want to ask to you, Ms. Mary Rose, is there any certain transition period for the companies to comply with the new standards, actually?
Yes, so at the moment, if you are renewing your certificates, then the current, so the version 2024 of the standard would remain valid. So you have a transition period actually from January to end of March, because all of these new regulations would take effect per April 1st. So if you have your certificates now being renewed, then the current limit values would then be applied.
Okay, then that would be something. Baik, terima kasih kepada para partisipan yang sudah bertanya. Nanti jika ada pertanyaan yang belum terjawab akan dijawab terpisah oleh Ms. Mary Rose. Dan bagi Bapak Ibu yang pertanyaannya terpilih terbaik, nanti kami akan menghubungi untuk proses lebih lanjut. Again, thank you very much, Ms. Mary Rose, for giving us such informative and comprehensive explanation also to the questions from the participants. Ms. Mary Rose, please stay with the microphone and camera on since you will present again for the latest PFAS standards, industry impacts, and global regulations. Baiklah Bapak Ibu peserta webinar sekalian, kita lanjutkan kembali ke materi berikutnya yang akan dipaparkan oleh Ms. Mary Rose mengenai the latest PFAS standards, industry impacts, and global regulations. We invite again Ms. Mary Rose Iglov to present the presentation. I hand over the microphone to you, Ms. Mary Rose. You may share your screen. Again, continue.
Yes, so for this part, I will be explaining where the PFAS regulations are at, the impacts these regulations have in the textile and leather industry in particular, and the available testing methods and some practical tips on how you can transition into a PFAS-free compliance. So before we dive into the main topics, let us have a recap of what PFAS are and why there has been a growing concern on these chemicals, leading to the EU-wide universal restriction proposal. So probably for most of you, this would sound like a repetition of what you already know, have heard, or even researched on your own. But let me highlight some details so that we are all on the same page. So PFAS terminology. According to the OECD 2021 definition, PFAS are fluorinated substances that contain at least one fully fluorinated methyl or methylene carbon atom without any hydrogen, chlorine, bromine, and iodine atom attached to it, with a few noted exceptions. Any chemical with at least a perfluorinated methyl group or perfluorinated methylene group. So I know this is kind of a little bit of chemistry. I assure this will not be any organic cotton lecture, so just bear with me. So this definition has been scrutinized by the international scientific community and is widely accepted. There are three parts to the name of the individual PFAS. The first tells you whether it's poly or perfluorinated. The second tells you how many carbons in the alkyl chain. And the third, what the functional group at the end of the molecule away from the fluorinated chain is. So here you can see on the left side picture, this is the tail part of the substance. And here the arrowheads, these are the functional groups. And for example, this is the sulfonic acid or octanoic acid. So the PFAS is a group, is classed into three different groups. So this is also in line with the life cycle assessment made for the PFAS emissions. So there would be non-polymeric PFAS, the F gases, and the polymeric PFAS. So polymeric PFAS, you're familiar with Teflon, for example, is just one of the many examples of polymeric PFAS. But for non-polymeric PFAS here, this is the one that has been of great concern by many countries. So here we have the PFAA. So most research has focused on perfluoroalkyl carboxylic acids, so PFCAs, and perfluoroalkyl sulfonic acids, PFSAs, with between 4 and 16 C4-16 carbons. And the long chain PFAS are defined as the PFCAs with 7 or more perfluorinated carbons, and PFSAs being with 6 or more perfluorinated carbons. So, yeah. These substances find useful, there are useful properties for these substances. What makes it really common is, or makes it really unique, is the CF bond, and it makes the PFAS exceptionally stable. PFAS are almost ubiquitous into the environment, mainly due to their wide use and applicability in the vast number of industrial sectors and consumer products. Cookware that don't stick, things that don't break down, clothes that don't stain, basically better living through chemicals, things that make our life easier. But the CF bonds that you've seen before make the chemicals unreactive. So unfortunately, the same properties that make them stain or grease resistant also make them resistant to degradation. Okay. So looking into the life cycle of PFAS, starting with the PFAS production, is used as raw material in the production of the production of products. Then the products are used during its lifetime, and as soon as it enters the waste phase, it will then be either recycled, incinerated, it will go into the waste management system. So emissions occur in all life cycle stages, and unfortunately, it comes with health hazards like damage to immune system, or it has endocrine activity. So these chemicals are endocrine disrupted. So it does have adverse effect on human health and ecosystems. So it is estimated that 75,000 tons of emissions were emitted in 2020, and over the course of 30 years, there would be 45 million tons of emissions of PFAS. So how are we exposed to PFAS? PFAS are high water solubility, have high water solubility, and this has led to the accumulation in groundwater, rivers, in the ocean, and contamination of drinking water, resources, fish, and marine animals. PFAS are released into the environment from direct and indirect sources, for example, from professional and industrial facilities, using PFAS during use of consumer products, and from food contact materials. Humans can be exposed to them every day at home. So if you're using carpets, for example, with PFAS or anti-stain treatment with PFAS, then you're exposed to that, or even in the workplace and to the environment, for example, from the food that you eat and drinking water. However, there are certain factors that may or may not influence human exposure. So populations that are close to the PFAS hotspots or emission sources are more prone to health hazard. Because PFAS are also very much mobile, so they have potential to travel distances, long-range distances. There have been findings in remote areas far away from PFAS sources. So PFAS is everywhere, very much part of our daily lives, much more than we think. So if releases are not minimized, adverse effect is inevitable. So giving you a overview of how it is now. So what has been taking place in the last year. So universal restriction proposal. This has been proposed through a joint effort by 5 EU countries: Netherlands, Germany, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. And they are proposing the ban on manufacturing, use, and placing of PFAS on the market as a substance on their own. So if this is being produced, it is banned to be from manufacture as a constituent with this specific limit values, or as a mixture, or in an article. The ban encompasses roughly 10,000 PFAS. So the universal restriction proposal means broad, a group restriction proposal. So for the whole class of PFAS, the ban is being proposed. PFAS are considered as a group because all members of the group share a common hazard and risk. So that is the proposal, that there's no differentiation between PFAS from PFAS. Not all PFAS have the same hazard and toxicological profile, but the proposal would be to ban it as a group and to treat this group as having sharing a common hazard and risk. What was the intention to classify this group? There are short-chained PFAS replacements. So the very famous PFAS or have been produced in the last years is the PFOA and PFOS, sorry, and it was banned in, I think, in the last couple of years. But with the ban of these two commonly used PFASs, there were short-chain PFAS replacements. They were used as an alternative to this long-chain legacy of PFAS chemicals. But however, some studies have shown that some short-chain PFAS have similar impacts to the body that long-chain PFAS have. So the replacements are not without health concerns. Therefore, they should not be considered as safe alternative, and the whole class of PFAS should be banned to avoid regrettable substitution. So in this ban, there are two proposals. So restriction option 1 and 2. Option 1 would be a full ban with no derogations, with a transition period of 18 months after entry into force. And the second option is use-specific time-limited derogations, 18-month transition period, plus either a 5 or 12-year derogation period. A bit of the timeline. So we are now here in 2025. Much have been done in the past. The opinion of the committees, so RAC and SEAC, have concluded their decision, and now it's for the EU Commission to decide on the proposal. So in 2025, they are now entering the third phase, which covers decision and follow-up. So in 2025, the European Commission drafts the legal text of the restriction, and REACH committee or the member states discusses and adopts the text. And also In 2025, the whole proposal, restrictions, and a lot will be scrutinized by the EU Parliament and Council, and sometime between 2026 and 27, it will finalize and the publication of the official journal will be made. So based on the annex or report 15, report 15 of the proposal, for TULAC, so TULAC is the acronym for textile, upholstery, leather, apparel, and carpets. There are no exceptions to be made. I have read a little bit of the report and saw that the stakeholders who have given their feedback, confirmed that substitutions are possible. So non-PFAS based substitutions are possible. It is possible to implement change after the 18 months after coming into force. So there will be no derogations for this group for this sector. For PPE, however, ban with a transition period of 18 months and a 12-year derogation would be allowed. But again, the report, I think after the EU Commission has reviewed the proposal, it could be that there would be changes made. So let's wait for it. Keep on reading the news and also keeping in touch with the changes, so that we are in line with the regulations afterwards. Okay, now PFAS global regulations. Of course, there are a lot of countries having their own take on how they would restrict PFAS and so on. So I would just like to give you two maybe perhaps important legislations coming from US and Canada. So for US and Canada, they have these reporting requirements for PFAS. So in US, the scope would be for articles containing PFAS, including imported articles, and the substances in scope of reporting are those per the definition of EPA. Who shall report? So everyone who has manufactured or imported PFAS in any year between 2011 and 2022, and the deadline, manufacturers or importers of PFAS are required to provide detailed data within 18 months. And distributors and contract manufacturers are not exempted if they import materials containing PFAS. For more information, I recommend that you check really the EPA site. So this is in the TSCA regulations. So please make sure that you also read and check if you are exporting to US. For Canada, also the same requirement, more or less the same. They have the Section 71 notice of the CEPA. There are PFAS reporting on 312 substances. Manufacturers and importers of the specific PFAS should comply if PFAS are used in articles and mixtures, and the deadline would be already actually took effect in January 2025. OEKO-TEX PFAS testing. So here, how we do it here at OEKO-TEX for the EU, also to comply with the EU legislation. So we have the TFCIC, so total fluorine with combustion ion chromatography. All organic fluorine with seldom cases of inorganic fluorine is seen in the result. So the client should be aware that this technique cannot filter all inorganic parts, and this can be seen in the result. So here you see the picture of the instrument. The auto sampler will take a sample containing the test sample, and then it is introduced into the oven and combusted directly. After conducting this TFCIC method, we will then go ahead and conduct the test according to the new legal requirement, EN 17681-2023, including the hydrolysis step. So this is to make sure that no restricted PFAS is in the article, so that your articles comply with the legislation. So these two combination will help you comply with the PFAS regulations, REACH, TSCA. So this is in US and also the Canada legislation. Just to share with you the PFAS fail rates. So ever since we started testing with the new requirement, new test method for PFAS with the hydrolysis step, the fail rates of PFAS samples has gone up by 12-fold. Most common fail reasons are FDOH, and 6 to FDOH is the most common So here you see really a spike of the results when we did the extra hydrolysis step. Yeah, so here it only shows us that really this step is required so that we can capture all those PFAS in the sample. Correlation of PFAS with TF. So in all the samples that we have found PFAS in very high concentrations, TF was found above the reporting value, 20 milligram per kilogram, and 91% of the samples that fail with PFAS with very high concentrations also fail in TF. PFAS findings, so this is perhaps a little bit of too little for you because we have a lot of findings. I would just like to share with you where do we find then PFAS with this hydrolysis step. So mostly fabrics with polyacrylic coating, fabrics treated with water, oil, soil repellent finish, even in metal zippers painted, and surprisingly also in just woven fabrics. So no treatment whatsoever of any water, oil, or dirt repellents, but just dope dyed green. We found it, and also in TPU film, so practically everywhere. So that's why we need to have both these tests performed so that we can make sure that all these articles, are comply with the requirements. So transitioning to PFAS-free compliance. So there are, of course, PFAS compliance requirements are evolving. New regulations are created and current regulations are expanding. It is important to start collecting information now because it will take substantial time to collect all the data you need for your PFAS-free solution. So here, this is just a little, some kind of illustration to correlate the risk that you have if you don't do anything. So the risk versus compliance. So at the top of this is if we don't do anything, you have no program whatsoever, no risk management measures, then the risk is very high, and you will likely not comply with the legislation. So full material disclosure, SDS self-declaration can help with the compliance, but this is not really a guarantee that you comply with the regulation. So we say that testing products will help you verify that no PFAS is contained in your product. So this is really, it should be part of your measures to make sure that you are really transitioning from a PFAS-free compliance. So it's not exclusive of each other. So maybe a combination of supply chain mapping and testing of products. So this should help you to comply with the requirements. Some practical steps for you. Ask for full material disclosure, including possible use of PFAS as processing aid. So here a caveat, so non-hazardous PFAS may not be listed in an SDS. Maybe this will also be hidden as a trade secret, so we would not see the PFAS in the SDS. So yeah, you have to be very careful. Ask for supplier confirmation that their products do not contain any PFAS substances or PTFE for that matter. So this confirmation will help you also document your due diligence, that you have done everything that you can do to make sure that you don't have PFAS in your products. Use safer non-PFAS based alternatives. So for any water repellent, oil repellent, or stain repellent applications. And very important is that you also not use any PFAS-based packaging materials to avoid cross-contamination. So screening tests to check for possible presence of PFAS. So if you're interested to know first if your product would contain any PFAS, so the TFCIC, total fluorine test, can help you identify if there is a possible PFAS in your product. But of course, the important thing, and also I think the most crucial, is that you really test for the PFAS content of the articles through the LCMS method. And it also helps if you make sure that your raw materials are already certified according to EcoPassport. In this program certification system, we test chemicals and auxiliaries also provide PFAS. So if you have this certified chemicals in your facility, if you're using only EcoPassport certified chemicals, then you can be sure that or have assurance that no PFAS will be in your products. And of course, for the end product, for the textile products, testing and certification according to standard 100, OEKO-TEX leather, and of course, organic cotton would be good to ensure that you comply with the regulatory mandate. So in essence, you can't comply without knowing your supply chain. To identify PFAS in your products, you need to know which PFAS, if any, exist in your supply chain. That requires information. It requires immense amounts of data. You need to engage your suppliers. So I think that is the last part of my presentation. Yes, so if we are open for any feedback, that would be.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mary Rose, for your informative and very interesting presentation. And now let's move into Q&A session. Our team already picked 3 good questions, actually. First one is Haikal from Trisula. Good day. I want to ask about the PFAS changes or the substance on the tables, new substances, as I don't see the changes in the limit values. Also, can you elaborate what is under observation mean? Does it mean can change in the middle of 2025? Or it will be not restricted on 2025, but may later on 2026? Also in line, this is with the question from Mr. Nunu on the next questions. By having OEKO-TEX standard 100, it means that we can say that the product also complies with the PFAS regulations.
So 3 questions. So 3 questions. The first one was about the PFAS substances added, right, to the list. So,
yes.
So these substances are added now into the standard. I would like for you to check the product standard of standard 100 to make sure that you really see that the changes, they're all listed now. And in case you still have questions regarding limit values or anything around about our the limit values, please, I would say contact or keep in touch so I can answer you directly. But they are all now published in the standard, so please check it out and let me know if you still have questions. And the second question was, help me out again, Ruli.
The second question came from Ms. Dinda Nusifa Yasvin. Is a good day. As we know, one of the special finishing in the finishing factory is by using fluorine, while fluorine is included in the PFAS, which is prohibited by OEKO-TEX, as we know. If you want to get OEKO-TEX certification, what are the alternatives to change those fluorines?
So, I mean, before we move to this question, the first question had 3 questions. So the first one was the PFAS limit values and then the under observation, right? So I would like to answer first the under observation, what it means.
Okay, then.
So, so the under observation means that we will look into the product over the course of 1 year. So we will collect data, we will test samples where we think it is relevant. And then after 1 year, we will check the results and decide whether they have relevancies to implement it officially in the restricted substance list. So under the year, so 2025, if the substance is under observation, there will be no consequences for your products. They will still remain valid and certified according to the product certification system. And any updates, if whether the under observation will be lifted and a new limit value will be implemented, you will be then updated through our newsletters or through the OEKO-TEX. And the third question was from the first one. I can't remember.
Okay, the third is by having OEKO-TEX standard 100, can we say that the product also complies with PFAS regulation?
Yes, so we make sure that our standards, our restricted substance list comply with the EU legislation, also the countries like across the globe, so national and international legislation. So yes, I can say that if your products are certified according to OEKO-TEX standard 100, then you comply with the legislation.
Okay.
And then,
So we move to the next question from Ms. Dinda. One of the special finishing in the finishing factory is by using fluorine, while
mhm,
fluorine is included in the PFAS, which is prohibited by OEKO-TEX. If you
mhm.
want to get OEKO-TEX certification, what are the alternatives?
Oh, yes. So, yes. So you need to find alternative that is true. And according to the report, Annex 15 of the report, so stakeholders in the textile sector, so tulak sector, have said that there are certain alternatives that are available and can be used. It can be PU based or silicon based. So it's not really impossible to to find an alternative. You just have to make sure that you look into the properties that you're looking for. So if you're gonna replace this substance with an alternative, yeah, you have to see if the functionality later on is achieved by the alternative. So if you're looking for thermal stability or chemical stability, or I don't know, only water repellent but not oil repellent, then there are many alternatives already available. So it should be possible. Yeah.
Okay, then. All right. I think that's enough for this session today. Okay. Again, thank you very much to Ms. Mary Rose for the informative and interesting explanations. Terima kasih kepada seluruh pembicara kita hari ini, Mr. Saket dan Ms. Mary Rose, atas pemaparannya yang sangat menarik dan menambah wawasan kita mengenai OEKO-TEX, ZDHC, and PFAS update, dan juga korelasi. Selanjutnya kita akan memasuki sesi yang telah dinantikan, yaitu adalah Games Kahoot. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian dapat mengakses website Kahoot atau menggunakan QR Code yang tertera di layar masing-masing, dan nantinya PIN akan kami tampilkan sesaat lagi. Saya akan bacakan singkat mengenai instruksi games ini. Mohon nantinya masukkan nama lengkap serta nama perusahaan Anda, contohnya dengan mengetikkan nama Ruli TESTEX. Bapak dan Ibu, please access the Kahoot website or scan the QR code displayed on the screen. After that, kindly enter your full name and your institute, for example, Ruli TESTEX. Jika sudah masuk, berikut ini adalah PIN untuk login. Silahkan dimasukkan. Once you're in, here is the PIN for login. Please enter it. Games ini terdiri dari 5 pertanyaan dengan 3 jenis format jawaban sebagai berikut. True or false, kemudian multi-select, dan open-ended. Persiapkan diri Bapak Ibu sekalian karena games akan segera kita mulai. Perlu diingat bahwa selain tepat dalam menjawab, kecepatan para partisipan untuk menjawab pertanyaan juga sangat berpengaruh dalam penilaian, jadi mohon untuk menjawab dengan tepat dan serta cepat. Siap, Bapak Ibu sekalian? Kita tunggu sesaat lagi agar semuanya bisa check-in. Oke. Sudah cukup banyak. Oke. Oke. Saya rasa bisa kita mulai sesaat lagi. Oh, masih banyak lagi yang mau join. Baik. Oke, saya rasa kita mulai saja ya. Oke. Tim TESTEX sudah bersiap. Games akan kita mulai dari pertanyaan yang pertama. Silakan tim. Sembari saya bacakan. Pertanyaan adalah multi-select. What are the main services provided by TESTEX? Development new textile materials, round-robin testing, textile testing certification, OEKO-TEX complaint support. Bisa dijawab lebih dari satu. Ayo. Oke, 50 audience. Oke. Oke, ada 8 peserta yang menjawab round robin testing. Kita lihat. Ini dari perusahaan mana ya? Yang Kahoot ini nanti bisa menghubungi dengan tim kami beserta bukti screenshotnya. Ibu Nur Eko Laundry, Buyung dari Target, Rina, Asep dari RTL. Baik, kita lanjutkan pertanyaan kedua. Next. Which new chemical group has stricter limits in OEKO-TEX? PFAS, heavy metal, azodized, chlorinated benzene. Ayo Ibu, Bapak sekalian. Ya, jawabannya PFAS. Ibu Nuri dari Kolondri. Oke, ini lebih tepat dan lebih cepat dalam menjawab. Oke, 5 besar. Kita lanjut ke pertanyaan ketiga. Which of the following is not a key consideration for synthetic bleed regulation? Cukup. Oke, jawaban masih rata sebetulnya. Posisi tertinggi masih Bu Nuri Kolondri, kemudian peserta dengan ID Kahoot, dan Pak Buyung dari Target. Kita lanjutkan pertanyaan berikutnya, keempat. Masih bersifat multi-select. What are the objectives of ZDHC air emission guidelines? Ayo, kita percepat jawabannya. Oke, ada conclusion through the ZDHC. Baik. Ada ID dengan nama kita C, Kahoot, Ibu Nuri turun peringkatnya, kemudian Ibu Lili dari TESTEX. Baik, kita lanjutkan pertanyaan berikutnya. Rapat ini ya, susunan klasemennya. Sifat jawaban adalah true or false. TESTEX is a ZDHC accredited solution provider that helps the fashion industry comply with the chemical regulations. Betul ataukah salah? Ayo. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oke, kita lihat. Oke, masih Ibu kita. Oke, lanjut di pertanyaan yang terakhir. True or false, ZDHC's new guidelines help ensure safer chemical management in recycled materials, air emissions, and chemicals. Oke, maaf tadi on mute ternyata. Kepada para pemenang kami ucapkan selamat dan mohon menghubungi tim, nanti akan kami tuliskan alamat email di chat box. Terutama untuk ID Kahoot karena kami tidak dapat mengidentifikasi dari mana dan dari perusahaan apa. Mohon nanti dituliskan mohon nanti mengirimkan email kepada tim kami dan kami akan proses lebih lanjut. Selamat kepada para 3 pemenang. Sebelum kita akhiri, saya hendak meminta para partisipan semua untuk on cam dan akan kita lakukan foto bersama. Miss Mary Rose, you may put your camera on. We're going to do some for the group for now. Mohon silahkan semua peserta menghidupkan kamera. Kita lakukan foto grup singkat sebelum sesi kita akhiri. Silakan kamera dinyalakan semuanya sebanyak mungkin. Nanti tim kami akan melakukan dokumentasi singkat. Silakan dinyalakan kameranya. Oke, masih banyak yang belum ternyata. Silakan Bapak Ibu sekalian menyalakan kamera. Kita akan foto grup singkat sebelum sesi kita akhiri. Oke, sudah siap. Tim TESTEX sudah siap. Baik, kita akan hitung mundur sebanyak mungkin. Silakan menyalakan kamera. Oke, baik. Terima kasih. Sesi foto akan kita mulai dari hitungan mundur dalam beberapa pose ya. Kami persilahkan. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Kemudian lagi terakhir 3, 2, 1.
Mohon
Oke,
ditahan Ibu dan Bapak sebentar.
Oh iya, mohon ditahan. Perlu diulangi Bu Kia? Cukup?
Boleh sekali lagi ya Ibu dan Bapak?
Boleh satu kali lagi ya. In 3, 2, and 1. Cukup? Ada tambahan Bu
Oke,
Kia?
iya sudah.
Cukup. Baik, terima kasih semuanya atas foto bersama yang cukup menarik. Baiklah Bapak dan Ibu partisipan webinar, dengan selesainya seluruh rangkaian acara hari ini, kami ingin mengucapkan terima kasih sebesar-besarnya atas kehadiran serta partisipasi aktif Bapak dan Ibu. Pertanyaan-pertanyaan nanti akan kita lanjutkan kepada para pembicara dan akan kami komunikasikan kembali kepada Bapak dan Ibu atas banyak pertanyaan bagus sebetulnya, tapi karena kita terbatas oleh waktu, kami juga memohonkan maaf apabila terdapat kekurangan dalam penyelenggaraan webinar ini. Semoga informasi yang telah disampaikan dapat memberikan manfaat bagi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Saya, Ruli, beserta seluruh tim TESTEX Indonesia mohon undur diri. Sampai berjumpa kembali pada acara kami yang berikutnya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Miss Mary Rose. Your time.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih banyak.
Sampai jumpa. Terima kasih
Bu.
semuanya.
Thank you. Terima kasih.